My name, Anna Mitchell, 33 years old, and I once thought family was everything. But everything changed when my sister forgot to end a video call. I heard her laughing with her husband and our parents, her voice dripping with sarcasm. She said, "She's so clueless she'd never figure it out, too naive to understand." Those words burned sharp and cold like a betrayal carved into my chest. I ended the call myself, hands trembling, and opened the family's joint bank account app. And then, thousands of dollars were gone, withdrawn without my knowledge. A week later, I handed them a lawsuit and said, "See you in court." Their faces froze, panic rising, but they didn't know my plan was just beginning. Before we continue, please hit the subscribe button and leave a comment about a time a trust fund let you down. Your support means the world to this story. My sister's voice carried that familiar desperation throughout the call. "Anna, I need help paying bills. Can you cover it? I'll pay you back, I swear." Another crisis, another excuse about her struggling sales job. "It's okay, sis. Family sticks together," I said, meaning every word as always. But when she thought the call was over, I heard her husband's voice, sly and probing. Did she notice the shortfall this time? My sister's laughter rang out, cruel and confident. "She's too naive, she won't suspect a thing." Then my mother's voice, calm as ever, asked, "How much this time?" $3,000, my father replied as if it were nothing. Easy money, using our anniversary as the pin. I gripped the phone, heart pounding with rage and disbelief. The shock hit hard, but I pushed it aside and dove into the account details. Transactions popped up one after another: ATM withdrawals, 3,000 here, 2,000 there, 4,000 last week. The pattern stretched back months, maybe a year, each one a silent stab. $35,000 in total vanished from the joint account I'd set up for family emergencies. I'd worked overtime as an accountant, skipping lunches out, driving an old car, all to build that safety net for us. Now it was funding their secrets. Claire had always been the one needing help, her wedding costs after her first job loss, apartment deposit, when Daniel's marketing gig fell through, even medical bills for our parents that I covered without question. I'd shared the PIN with her years ago, trusting her as my sister, using our parents' 25th anniversary date because it felt secure, meaningful. But hearing them mock it, turn it into a joke for easy cash, twisted something inside me. Not just anger, but a deep, burning betrayal from the people who should have my back. I scrolled further, noting dates matching times Claire called for loans. Last month, 5,000 gone the day after she begged for rent help. 2 weeks ago, another withdrawal right before Daniel's birthday trip. Photos appeared on social media. My parents' voices echoed in my head, Diane's casual question about the amount, Robert's laugh calling me gullible. How long had they known? Were they in on it from the start, or did Claire pull them into her scheme? The account was meant for all of us, but I'd managed it, funded most of it, believing in family unity. Pacing the kitchen, I felt isolation creep in. No more blind trust, no more playing the naive sister who fixes everything. I grabbed a notebook, jotting down every suspicious transaction, timestamps, amounts. Evidence, that's what I needed. If they thought I was too innocent to fight back, they'd learn otherwise. The rage steadied me, turning hurt into focus. Tomorrow I'd dig deeper, but tonight I changed the PIN, locking them out for good. Claire's calls had become routine over the years, each one starting with that same plea. But this time, replaying the overheard conversation in my mind, I saw the manipulation clear as day. "Easy money," Daniel had said, his tone smug, and my mother's follow-up, "How much this time?" as if it was a game. My father's agreement, fading but distinct. They were all complicit, treating my hard work like their personal ATM. I logged into the bank app again, exporting statements, highlighting patterns. Withdrawals always under 5,000 to avoid flags, clever enough to evade detection until now. $35,000 enough for my down payment on a house or a secure future, gone to their whims. Claire's new clothes in photos. Daniel's fancy dinners, even hints of gifts for our parents. All on my dime. Breathing deep, I sat at the table, staring at the screen. No tears, just resolve. They underestimated me, saw me as the easy target, the 33-year-old still trying to hold the family together. But that ended here. I'd gather proof, confront them, and if needed, take it legal. Family or not, theft was theft. The next morning, coffee in hand, I reviewed the exports. More details emerged: locations of ATMs near Claire's work in Boise, times matching her lunch breaks. One withdrawal from a machine close to our parents' retirement home. Diane and Robert involved directly. The thought stung, but evidence didn't lie. I called the bank discreetly, requesting full logs without alerting anyone. The representative confirmed unusual activity, promised to investigate. But I couldn't wait. I needed control. Searching online for advice on family fraud, I found forums with similar stories, people regretting silence. Not me. I'd act. By afternoon, I had a folder ready: statements, screenshots, notes on the overheard call. The betrayal fueled me, pushing past hurt. Claire, Daniel, even my parents, they'd face consequences. No more naive Anna. As evening fell, I prepared for what came next. They'd call again soon, pretending nothing happened. But I was ready, plan forming. They thought I was innocent, blind to their games. Soon they'd see how wrong they were. The bank callback came faster than expected. "Ms. Mitchell, we've flagged several unauthorized withdrawals," the voice said. "Unauthorized to me, yes, but to them, family business." I explained the situation briefly, keeping calm. They advised freezing the account, which I did immediately. With that done, I turned to social media, checking Claire's profiles. Recent posts, vacation shots, new gadgets, all timestamps aligning with withdrawals. Daniel's too, boasting about good fortune. And our parents, quiet online but liking every post. Complicit, all of them. Anger surged, but I channeled it. I downloaded a recording app for future calls, tested it. If they slipped again, I'd capture it. No more trusting words, only facts. That night, sleep evaded me, mind racing with scenarios. Confrontation at our parents' house, their denials, Claire's tears, Daniel's threats. But I'd stand firm. $35,000 wasn't just money, it was my security stolen by blood. Waking early, I emailed a friend in finance for advice. "Sounds like fraud," she replied. "Get a lawyer." Smart, I'd need one soon. Reviewing notes again, patterns clarified. Withdrawals spiked after family gatherings, like last Christmas when Claire complained about bills. I'd transferred extra then, unaware they were already dipping in. The realization hit: they'd planned this, using my trust against me. My sister's pleas, parents' subtle nods, Daniel's encouragement. A team effort. But now I had the upper hand. Evidence mounting, resolve stealing. They called me naive, but I'd show them strength. Mid-morning, my phone buzzed. Claire again. I let it ring, not ready yet. Soon, though. Very soon. I spent the day organizing printing statements, building my case. Each page fueled determination, no backing down. By evening, folder thick, I felt prepared. The betrayal still ached, but action dulled it. Family. Not anymore. Not like this. Tomorrow, investigation deepened. For now, I locked everything safe from their reach. The weight lifted slightly, replaced by purpose. They started this, I'd finish it. Sleep was impossible, my mind racing with plans. I needed answers. How did Claire get so bold, and why were our parents in on it? The next morning, coffee barely steadied my hands as I drove to a cafe in downtown Boise, a small place where my sister's friend worked. She was my first step to unraveling this mess. The cafe smelled of roasted beans and fresh pastries, a cozy front hiding my purpose. I spotted her behind the counter, wiping it down with quick, practiced motions. "Hey, Emily," I said, keeping my tone light, casual. My sister's friend looked up, her smile genuine but cautious. "Anna, it's been a while. How's everything?" We made small talk, my pulse steadying as I steered the conversation. "Claire mentioned you two have been catching up a lot," I said, sipping my latte. "She ever talk about our family account? I'm having trouble with it." Emily's eyes flickered just for a second, but I caught it. Not really, she said too quickly. Just, family stuff. I leaned in, voice low, conspiratorial. Between you and me, I'm forgetting how we even set up the pin. Claire, she's got a better memory for those things. Emily relaxed, thinking she was off the hook. Oh, she said your parents suggested it. Their 25th anniversary date, right? Claire thought it was sweet you picked something so personal. My stomach twisted, but I kept my face neutral. Robert and Diane suggesting the pin. They'd framed it as my idea when we opened the account, said it showed family unity. Now it felt like a trap. Thanks, Emily, I said, forcing a smile. You're a lifesaver. I left the cafe, my mind churning. My parents weren't just complicit, they'd planned this with Claire, used a date I trusted to make it easy. The betrayal cut deeper, a blade twisting with every step to my car. Back home, I knew I needed more than suspicions. Evidence was my weapon, and I couldn't gather it alone. Searching online, I found James Carter, a private investigator in Boise with a reputation for discretion. His website promised results in sensitive cases perfect for this. I called, setting up a meeting for that afternoon at his office, a small space above a bookstore, cluttered but professional. Carter was in his late 40s, sharp-eyed with a handshake that felt like a contract. Ms. Mitchell, tell me what's going on, he said, leaning back in his chair. I laid it out, the overheard call, the $35,000 stolen, my sister and parents' involvement. His pen moved fast across a notepad. Family fraud's tricky, he said, but not impossible to prove. You want their spending tracked? I nodded. Everything. I need to know what they're doing with my money. He quoted a rate, $300 a day plus expenses. Steep, but worth it. 2 weeks should do it, Carter said. I'll get photos, videos, receipts, whatever's out there. I wrote the check, my accountant's instinct screaming it was an investment in justice. Within days, Carter delivered. His first email came with attachments, photos of Claire and Daniel at a high-end restaurant clinking wine glasses that cost more than my monthly groceries. Another showed Daniel buying a new laptop, the receipt time-stamped hours after a $4,000 withdrawal. Then a video, Claire at a boutique trying on a designer jacket, her laugh echoing the one from the call. My money, their extravagance. Carter called with more. Your parents are involved too, he said. Found a withdrawal from an ATM near their retirement home. Same day they bought new furniture online, tracked the delivery to their address. I gripped the phone, my pulse racing. Robert and Diane using my savings for their comfort while mocking me behind my back. I asked Carter to keep digging, focus on patterns. He sent daily updates, Claire's spa visits, Daniel's car upgrades, even a weekend trip to a resort, all paid with funds from the account. Each piece tightened my resolve like bolts locking into place. My sister's friend had given me the first clue, but Carter's evidence was building a case no one could deny. I organized the photos, videos, and bank statements in my folder, each item a brick in the wall I was constructing. Emily's slip about the pin was a start, but I needed more leverage for what came next. I tested the recording app again, making sure it was ready for Claire's inevitable call. She'd reach out soon, pretending everything was fine, asking for another loan. Late one evening, Carter emailed a bombshell, a screenshot from Daniel's social media, a post boasting about a family windfall. The caption read, "Living large, thanks to family ties." My parents had liked the post, their names glowing on my screen. The audacity burned, but it was another nail in their coffin. I met Carter again, this time at a quiet park bench to avoid prying eyes. He handed me a USB drive. This has everything, he said. Restaurant receipts, ATM footage, even audio from a bar where Daniel bragged about the account. I thanked him, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Driving home, I felt the weight of the evidence in my bag. Claire, Daniel, Robert, Diane, they thought they were untouchable, laughing at my expense. But I wasn't the naive sister anymore. I was building a fortress of truth, and soon they'd face it. The next day, I reviewed Carter's files again, cross-referencing with bank logs. Every withdrawal matched their spending. $3,000 for Claire's spa day, $2,000 for Daniel's tech, $1,000 for my parents' furniture. $35,000 my security turned into their luxury. I called Carter one last time, confirming he'd testify if needed. "Count on it," he said. "This is airtight." I hung up my plan, sharpening. Confrontation was next, but I'd go armed with proof they couldn't dodge. The folder grew thicker, my resolve harder. They'd called me innocent, blind to their scheme. Soon they'd see just how clear my vision was. I drove to my parents' house in Boise, the folder of evidence heavy on the passenger seat. My heart pounded, but I steadied it, checking the recording app on my phone ready active. Claire and Daniel would be there for Sunday dinner, a family ritual I'd once cherished. Now it was my chance to confront them all three face to face. I knocked 3 times, firm, deliberate. My mother opened the door, her smile faltering when she saw my expression. "Anna, you're early," Diane said, stepping aside. Inside, Claire sat on the couch scrolling her phone while Daniel lounged beside her sipping a beer. "Robert." My father looked up from the kitchen table, his eyes narrowing. "What's with the serious face?" he asked, voice light but cautious. I set the folder down, my gaze locked on Claire. "I know about the money," I said, voice steady. $35,000 taken from our family account." Silence dropped like a stone. Claire's phone slipped from her hand, hitting the cushion. Daniel sat up, beer forgotten. "What are you talking about?" my sister said, her tone sharp, defensive. "Don't play innocent," I said, opening the folder, revealing printed bank statements. $3,000 last week, $4,000 before that, withdrawals going back months. "Using your anniversary? Pin mom, dad." Diane gasped, pressing a hand to her chest, but her eyes darted to Robert. "Not me." "Anna, that's ridiculous," she said, her voice trembling, too rehearsed. Robert leaned forward, his face a mask of concern. "Sweetheart, you're confused. That accounts for all of us. Maybe you misread something." His patronizing tone ignited my anger, but I kept control. "Misread," I said, sliding a statement across the table. "These are ATM withdrawals timed with Claire's lunch breaks, Daniel's shopping sprees, even your new furniture, Dad." Daniel stood, his jaw tight. "You're accusing us of stealing." "That's low, Anna." I met his glare, unflinching. "It's not an accusation, it's a fact. I have photos, receipts, videos." Claire's laugh was brittle, cutting through the tension. "You're paranoid," she said. "Always the perfect little accountant, aren't you? Thinking you're smarter than us." "Then explain this," I said, pulling out Carter's photo of her at the boutique, a $3,000 jacket in her hands. Her face paled, but she recovered fast. "That's not your business," she snapped. "Family shares money. Why are you so selfish?" The word stung, but I pressed on. "Family doesn't steal," I said. "You used the account behind my back, mocked me for trusting you." Diane's voice rose sharp with indignation. "How dare you accuse your own parents? We've done nothing but support you." Support? I thought of the hours I'd worked to fund that account, the sacrifices I'd made while they spent freely. "Support doesn't mean taking $35,000, I said, my voice cold. "You all knew, didn't you?" Robert stood now, his hands raised like a peacemaker. "Let's calm down, Anna. This is a misunderstanding. We can talk it out." I shook my head, my resolve hardening. "No more talking. I want every dollar back by next week." Claire scoffed, her eyes flashing. "Or what you'll call the cops on your own sister, your parents." I activated the recording app silently, my thumb steady on the phone. "I'll do what I have to," I said. Daniel stepped closer, his voice low, menacing. "You're making a mistake, Anna. Keep this up and we'll make sure everyone knows you're unhinged. Social media's brutal, you know that." The threat hung heavy, but I didn't flinch. "Try it," I said, my eyes locked on his. "But I have evidence you can't spin." Claire's face twisted with fury. "You're pathetic," she spat. "Always playing the victim, whining about fairness." I ignored her, turning to my parents. You two okay with this? Stealing from your daughter, laughing behind her back. Diane's eyes filled with tears, crocodile tears I knew now. Robert just stared silent. I grabbed my folder, the pages rustling like accusations. You've got 1 week, I said, moving toward the door. Claire shouted after me. You'll regret this, Anna. You're tearing this family apart. I paused, hand on the doorknob, and looked back. You did that yourselves, I said, voice calm but final. Outside, I slid into my car, my heart still racing but my mind clear. The recording app blinked, capturing every word: Claire's denial, Daniel's threat, my parents' fake tears. I saved the file, my hands trembling with purpose. They thought they could bully me into silence, paint me as the crazy one. But I wasn't backing down. Driving away, their house shrank in my rearview mirror. Claire's threat about social media echoed, but it only fueled me. Let them try. I had Carter's evidence, bank logs, and now this recording. $35,000 wasn't just money, it was my trust. My security stolen by the people I'd loved most. I stopped at a red light, replaying Daniel's words. Social media's brutal. He wasn't wrong, but I'd fight fire with fire if needed. Back home, I checked the recording, clear, damning. Every denial, every jab preserved for what came next. The folder sat on my table, thicker now with today's notes. I added the recording file, labeled it carefully. Confronting them hadn't changed their story, they'd doubled down, lied to my face. But it had changed me. No more naive sister, no more blind trust. I called Carter, updating him on the confrontation. They're rattled, I said. Daniel threatened to smear me online. Carter's voice was calm, professional. Let them. It'll only make your case stronger. He promised more evidence soon, ATM footage, more receipts. That night, I reviewed the folder again, each page a step toward justice. Claire's boutique photo, Daniel's laptop receipt, my parents' furniture delivery. And now their voices admitting nothing but revealing everything. They'd called me innocent, too naive to fight back. They were wrong. Tomorrow I'd find a lawyer. This wasn't just about the money anymore, it was about holding them accountable. Family or not, they'd crossed a line, and I'd make sure they faced it. 2 days after the confrontation, my phone buzzed with notifications, Claire's social media post pinned at the top of her profile. The words hit like a slap. Heartbroken to see my sister spiraling, accusing family of things that never happened. Mental health is serious, please keep Anna in your thoughts. My parents' names, Robert and Diane, glowed in the likes, their support public and deliberate. Comments poured in, friends, cousins, even strangers pitying Claire, calling me unstable. My pulse pounded, but I didn't crumble. They'd made their move. Now it was mine. I opened the post, screenshots flashing on my screen. Claire's tearful selfie, Daniel's arm around her, my parents' concerned comments. We're trying to help her, Diane wrote. She's not herself, Robert added. The lies stung, but their audacity fueled my defiance. They thought a few posts could silence me, paint me as the crazy one. I saved every screenshot, adding them to my folder, more evidence of their manipulation. That night, I came home to my Boise apartment and froze. The front door was ajar, the lock scratched, papers scattered across the living room floor. My heart raced as I scanned the space, laptop untouched, TV still there, but my desk drawers hung open, files missing. Someone had been here, and it wasn't a random thief. Claire's threat echoed in my mind, social media's brutal. This felt like her next step, a warning to back off. I called the police, my hands shaking as I reported the break-in. No valuables taken, I told the officer, but it's personal. She nodded, jotting notes, promising to investigate. I didn't sleep. My mind replaying the confrontation, Claire's sneer, Daniel's threat, my parents' fake tears. The break-in wasn't random. Claire had the means, the motive. Robert and Diane's silence on the phone when I called to ask felt like confirmation. We don't know anything, Diane said, her voice too calm. I hung up, saving that call to my recording app. Morning brought clarity. I needed legal help, someone to turn my evidence into a case. Searching online, I found Laura Peterson, a Boise lawyer specializing in fraud. Her office was in a sleek downtown building, all glass and steel. I booked an appointment for that afternoon, bringing my folder bank statements, Carter's photos, videos, the confrontation recording, now the screenshots. Peterson was sharp mid-30s with a no-nonsense stare. "Ms. Mitchell, lay it out for me," she said, pen poised. I explained everything: the $35,000 stolen, the overheard call, Emily's slip about the pin, Carter's evidence, the confrontation, and, now, the social media smear and break-in. Her eyes narrowed at the screenshots. "This is defamation," she said, "and the break-in strengthens your case." Suspicious timing. I slid the folder across her desk. "I want my money back," I said, "and I want them held accountable." Peterson flipped through the pages, her pen marking key points. "You've got a strong case," she said. "Bank records, photos, recordings. These are solid. The social media posts and break-in add intent to intimidate. We can sue for the stolen $35,000 plus damages for defamation and emotional distress." "How much in total?" I asked. She calculated quickly. "Potentially $50,000, including court costs and punitive damages for their coordinated effort." I nodded, my resolve steeling. "File it," I said. Peterson promised to draft the complaint by the next day, her confidence matching mine. Back home, I checked my apartment's new locks installed that morning. The violation lingered, but I pushed it aside, focusing on the folder. I added police report notes detailing the break-in's selective damage, only my files targeted. Carter called with an update. "Found a guy at a bar near Claire's work," he said. "He bragged about doing a job for a woman matching her description. No proof yet, but I'm digging." I thanked him, my mind racing. Claire had escalated from lies to sabotage with my parents' backing. I opened her social media again, another post, this one with a photo of her and Daniel at a family dinner captioned, "Holding strong despite the pain Anna's causing." Robert commented, "We're here for you." Diane added a heart emoji. The hypocrisy burned, but I saved it all. Peterson emailed that evening confirming the lawsuit was filed: Anna Mitchell versus Claire Bennett, Daniel Bennett, Robert Mitchell, and Diane Mitchell. Case number CV-225-3921. The words felt heavy, official, a line drawn in the sand. I forwarded Carter's latest findings to her, including the bar lead. "This could tie the break-in to them," she replied. "Keep everything documented." Claire called the next morning, her voice dripping with fake concern. "Anna, why are you doing this? We're family." I let the recording app run, my tone flat. "Family doesn't steal $35,000, Claire?" She gasped, theatrical. "You're delusional. Everyone sees it, check online." I hung up, saving the file. Her desperation was showing. Social media notifications kept coming, friends messaging, some believing Claire's lies, others asking if I was okay. I ignored them, focusing on Peterson's advice. "Stay quiet. Let the evidence speak." The break-in rattled me, but it also clarified their tactics. They wanted me scared, isolated. Instead, I was more determined. I met Peterson again, reviewing the complaint. She added the break-in as evidence of intimidation, strengthening the damages claim. "They're digging their own grave," she said, pointing to Claire's posts. "Judges don't like public smear campaigns." I nodded, my anger now a steady flame. Carter sent another email, ATM footage showing Claire near my apartment the day of the break-in. Not conclusive, but close. I forwarded it to Peterson, my case growing tighter. The folder, now bulging, held their lies, their spending, their threats. They'd called me naive, but I was building a wall they couldn't climb. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, the folder open. The break-in, the posts, their denials, it was all connected. Claire, Daniel, Robert, Diane, they thought they could outsmart me, bury me in lies. But I had truth, evidence, and a lawyer ready to fight. I checked my phone, notifications still buzzing. Claire's latest post accused me of tearing the family apart. I saved it, my resolve unshaken. They'd started this war, I'd finish it. The Boise courthouse loomed stark and gray, its walls echoing with the weight of judgment. I sat in the plaintiff's seat, my folder of evidence neatly stacked before me, hands steady despite the storm inside. Laura Peterson stood beside me, her suit crisp, her confidence a quiet anchor. Across the room, Claire, Daniel, Robert, and Diane sat with their lawyer. A young man visibly outmatched his papers in disarray. Their faces were tight eyes avoiding mine, but I felt no pity, only resolve. Judge Margaret Hayes entered her presence, commanding her gavel's sharp crack, silencing the room. "This is a civil case of alleged theft and fraud," she said, her voice clear, authoritative. "Ms. Peterson, present your evidence." Peterson stood, her tone measured but firm. "Your Honor, we will demonstrate systematic theft of $35,000 from the plaintiff's family joint account executed through deliberate deception by the defendants." She began with the bank statements. Each withdrawal highlighted $3,000 on March 5th, $4,000 on March 12th, $2,000 the week before. The numbers rolled out like accusations, each one tying to timestamps I'd tracked. "These withdrawals," Peterson said, "align with the defendant's spending patterns as evidenced by photographs and receipts." She projected Carter's photos, a shot of Claire in a boutique, Daniel with a new laptop, my parents' new furniture delivered to their home. The courtroom screen glowed with their extravagance, funded by my trust. Claire shifted uncomfortably, her hands twisting in her lap. Daniel's jaw clenched, his eyes darting to their lawyer, who scribbled frantically. Robert and Diane sat stone-faced, but I caught Diane's fleeting glance at me, guilt maybe, or fear. Peterson continued, her voice unwavering. "We have video evidence, ATM footage showing Claire Bennett at locations matching the withdrawals, including one near her workplace, on dates of significant transactions." Then came the recordings. Peterson played the confrontation audio, my voice calm but firm. "I know about the money, $35,000 taken from our family account," I'd said. Claire's response echoed in the courtroom, sharp and defensive. "You're paranoid." Daniel's threat followed, social media's brutal. My parents' voices, Robert's patronizing, "Sweetheart, you're confused." Diane's fake indignation sealed their guilt. The room went still, the defendants' faces paling with each word. Peterson cued another recording, Claire's call after the lawsuit was filed. "Anna, why are you doing this? We're family," she'd said, her tone dripping with false concern. My reply: "Family doesn't steal $35,000. Claire rang out, final and unyielding. Judge Hayes leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "Did the defendant admit to unauthorized withdrawals?" she asked. Peterson nodded. "The evidence speaks for itself, Your Honor." The defendant's lawyer stood, his voice shaky. "Your Honor, my clients believed the account was for family use. There was no intent to steal, it was a misunderstanding." Peterson didn't hesitate. "A misunderstanding," she said, holding up the social media screenshots. "This post by Claire Bennett accuses the plaintiff of mental instability, posted after the confrontation to intimidate her." Robert and Diane Mitchell endorsed it, as shown by their comments. The screen displayed Claire's tearful selfie captioned with "Lies, my parents' likes," glowing like betrayal. Judge Hayes examined the screenshots, her expression unreadable. "And the break-in at Ms. Mitchell's apartment?" she asked. Peterson presented the police report, noting the timing, days after the confrontation, and Carter's lead about a man linked to Claire. "No direct proof ties the defendants to the break-in," Peterson said, "but the pattern of intimidation is clear." Claire took the stand, her voice trembling, eyes wet with practiced tears. "Your Honor, I never stole anything. Anna gave us access to the account, it's family money." Peterson crossed her arms, her tone sharp. "Do you have written permission for these withdrawals?" Claire faltered. "No, but it was understood. We're family." Peterson held up the boutique photo. "Was this $3,000 jacket a family expense?" Claire's face flushed, her words stumbling into silence. Daniel testified next, his voice defiant. "Anna's blowing this out of proportion. She's always been jealous of Claire." Peterson didn't flinch. "Jealous enough to fabricate $35,000 in withdrawals. She played his social media post living large, thanks to family ties. Daniel's bravado crumbled, his lawyer objecting weakly. Robert and Diane took the stand together, their story aligned. "We thought Anna approved the withdrawals," Diane said, her voice soft, tearful. Robert nodded. "She's confused, Your Honor. We'd never hurt our daughter." Peterson countered with the ATM footage near their home, their furniture receipt time-stamped with a withdrawal. "Did Anna approve this purchase?" she asked. Their silence was deafening. Judge Hayes deliberated for 15 minutes, the courtroom heavy with anticipation. She returned, her gavel's crack echoing like thunder. "The evidence is overwhelming," she said. "The defendants systematically stole $35,000 from the plaintiff's joint account using personal information to deceive her. Their social media campaign and the suspicious break-in suggest intent to intimidate." She paused, her gaze sweeping the room. "Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $50,000, including restitution, court costs, attorney fees, and punitive damages for deliberate fraud." The words settled like victory, a weight lifting from my chest. Claire's face went white, her hands gripping Daniel's arm. Daniel stared at the floor, his defiance gone. Robert and Diane sat frozen, their masks of concern shattered. $50,000, they didn't have it, and I knew it. Their financial collapse was just beginning. Peterson shook my hand, her smile professional but warm. "Congratulations, Ms. Mitchell," she said. "This is airtight." I nodded, my heart racing with quiet triumph. The courtroom emptied, but I lingered, watching Claire whisper urgently to Daniel. My parents trailing behind, heads bowed. They'd called me naive, thought I'd fold under their lies. But I'd fought, and I'd won. Outside, the Boise air was crisp, the sky clear. I clutched my folder now, a symbol of justice, not just evidence. Claire's tears, Daniel's threats, my parents' fake concern, they'd all unraveled before the truth. The gavel's echo lingered in my mind, a sound of finality. I drove home, the lawsuit papers in my bag, my resolve unshaken. They'd stolen more than money, my trust, my sense of family. But I'd reclaimed my strength. The courtroom had been my battlefield, and the verdict was my victory. They'd underestimated me, seen me as the naive sister who'd never fight back. Now they knew better. Peterson called as I parked, confirming the judgment was filed. "Collection starts next," she said. "They'll feel this for years." I thanked her, my voice calm, steady. The fight wasn't over. Collecting $50,000 would be a slog, but the verdict was enough for now. Back in my apartment, I opened the folder one last time, reviewing the evidence that had won the day. Bank statements, photos, recordings, screenshots, each piece a brick in the wall I'd built. Claire, Daniel, Robert, Diane, they'd face the consequences, not just financially, but in the ruin of their lies. I stood at my window, the city lights flickering below. Justice wasn't just about the money, it was about standing up, proving them wrong. They'd called me innocent, blind to their schemes. But I'd seen everything, and I'd made them pay. The courthouse victory was only the beginning. Within a week, the enforcement notice landed in their mailboxes, its legal weight a hammer poised to strike. Laura Peterson explained the process: wage garnishment, asset seizures, bank account freezes. $50,000 was a mountain they couldn't climb, and I watched from a distance as their world unraveled. Claire's car was the first to go. Driving past her Boise apartment, I saw her sedan parked on the street, a faded for sale sign taped to the windshield. The luxury model she'd bought with my money, now priced low for a quick sale. Daniel's social media went silent, his boasts about family windfalls replaced by desperate posts, advertising furniture, electronics, even Claire's designer clothes. Their apartment lease lapsed, and whispers from mutual friends confirmed they'd moved into a cramped rental across town. Robert and Diane faced their own reckoning. Their retirement home, once a symbol of comfort, now had a lien against it. Peterson's team tracked their bank accounts, drained by legal fees and early payments. A neighbor mentioned seeing movers haul away their new furniture, the same pieces bought with my $35,000. Their social media, once filled with family pride, went dormant, their likes on Claire's lies erased. Carter called with updates, his voice matter of fact. "They're scrambling," he said. Claire lost her sales job, her boss saw the lawsuit news. Daniel's freelancing gigs dried up. I nodded, my heart calm. They'd mocked me as naive, but now they face the consequences of their own choices. The first payment arrived a month later, a check for $2,000 court-ordered, drawn from Claire's dwindling savings. The bank teller processed it without comment, but I felt the weight of justice in my hands. Each dollar returned was a step toward reclaiming what they'd stolen, not just money, but my trust, my security. Claire tried calling, once her number flashing on my phone. I let it ring, then blocked it. Her voicemail deleted unheard was her last attempt. Daniel sent a text from a new number. "Anna, please, we're struggling. Can we talk?" I blocked him too. My decision final. Robert and Diane left messages, their voices pleading. "We're your parents," Diane said, as if that erased their betrayal. I blocked them both, severing every tie. Social media became my window into their collapse. Claire's profiles, once vibrant with luxury, now showed nothing but silence. A cousin messaged me asking why I'd destroyed the family. I didn't respond. Truth didn't need defending. The court had spoken and their lies had crumbled. By summer's end, they'd paid back $15,000 through asset sales and garnished wages. $35,000 remained a debt that would haunt them for years. Peterson estimated it'd take a decade, assuming they stayed employed. I deposited a money order for $1,000, the latest payment, and updated my ledger. $50,000 awarded, $15,000 collected, a balance sheet of accountability. Sitting in my apartment, I opened my laptop, the folder of evidence, now a relic of victory. I'd kept it updated, adding payment records just in case they tried to dodge again. But the fight felt over. The betrayal, once a raw wound, had healed into a scar, proof I'd survived. I thought about what family meant. I'd believed in unity and helping Claire, supporting Robert and Diane, trusting them with our joint account. But they'd turned that trust into a weapon, used my sacrifices to fund their greed. The $35,000 wasn't just money, it was my overtime hours, my skipped vacations, my dream of stability. They'd laughed at that, called me gullible. Now they paid the price. Here's what I learned. Trust is precious, but it's not a blank check. Family doesn't get a free pass to betray you, to steal what you've built. I trusted Claire, Daniel, my parents, because I thought love meant giving without question. But love without boundaries is a trap, and they walked right into it thinking I'd stay silent. I didn't. Standing up, fighting back even against blood, it's not betrayal, it's self-respect. To anyone listening, here's my advice. Check your accounts, protect your information, and don't hesitate to act when someone crosses you. Family or not, no one has the right to take what's yours. I learned that the hard way, but I came out stronger. The courtroom gave me justice, but cutting them off gave me peace. I don't regret it, not for a second. Walking to my window, I looked out at Boise's quiet streets. The city moved on, normal lives unfolding below, free of the complications I'd faced. My apartment, once violated by their break-in, now felt like a fortress, mine alone. The silence wasn't empty. It was the quiet triumph of a battle won. I closed the ledger, the numbers final. Claire, Daniel, Robert, Diane. They were no longer my family, just names on a lawsuit. I'd fought for what was mine, and I'd won. That was enough. Thank you for listening to my story. It's been a journey, and sharing it means more than you know. Please hit that subscribe button and leave a comment. Have you ever faced a betrayal like this? How did you handle it? Your stories keep this channel alive, and I'm grateful for every one of you.